Through advocacy on Capitol Hill, the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States works to improve and protect the benefits of the National Guard service members, veterans, and their families. Here's how we do it.
I'm Nick Weinstein. I'm the Legislative Director for the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States.
And I'm Eugene Bradley. I'm the Legislative Committee Chair for the Enlisted Association. I love this mission statement. I know our past president, Bob Sweeney, came up with it through a strategy session over the course of several years. I love it because it really focuses and highlights how EANGUS, the Enlisted Association of the National Guard, focuses and works on being a full-service association. We're not just there for our currently serving members. We're there for our retirees and the veterans that have previously served. And we're not just a legislative association. While we're here to talk legislation today, that's not our only corner for advocacy. We're working for family readiness through scholarships, through employment opportunities, through the National Guard Relief Foundation and financial readiness. It's really a full-service association that covers a lot of different bases. But really, we've been our bread and butter, and our reputation has been built around our legislative advocacy and our efforts, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gene.
So this entire video series has been leading up to in preparation for our March Legislative Workshop, March 23rd through 24th. This is going to be a great professional development opportunity, whether you're a young E1, E2, E3, all the way through the ranks to our senior leadership. We encourage all ranks and retirees and the auxiliary to attend. This is our bread and butter. This is where the advocacy efforts meet the road, rubber meets the road situation. And so we encourage you to attend, to create this unified voice, to create a difference for our guardsmen. What really makes our legislative visits effective is not you or me going up to the Hill, or our executive director, John Geip, heading up there. It's when the legislators actually get to hear from our guardsmen that are in the field, or the family members. For my many times actually visiting with the legislators, the most impactful was when I actually had my spouse, my wife, with me, to where she could sit down with Senator Marshall and talk about how the child care issues facing guardsmen today is affecting us as a family, and how it's affecting those around us. And so when we actually get to share and tell our stories from that ground level, it hits home a little bit harder than just having another advocacy person from the association there that they get to see all the time. They get to hear from the constituents. And one thing that will hit to a legislator's heart very quickly is when one of their constituents is sharing the issue and not just another DC face.
Yeah, think about your story, and if you have a good little pithy quote or a one-liner that sticks in their head, that always works pretty well.
Yeah, and I know for us, with duty status reform, that one-liner has always been a day in uniform is a day in uniform, regardless of how you spend it. And so that's just one example of how we try and make it quick and simple for our legislators to understand of how being a guardsman is different than any other branch.
So when you're telling your story, it's of course important who you're telling your story to. Now, I know everybody always says that you should know your state reps or your state senators and so on, but much like visiting your city's, memorials and museums and so on is something you just don't get around to. In preparation for the legislative workshop, please look up who your state representatives are, and your state, or not your state representatives, but your federal representatives are, both on the House and in the Senate. When you are looking to organize a meeting, go to congress.gov. These websites will have the contact information for the staff at each representative's office. So you won't be reaching out directly to the representative unless you have probably a really good pre-established connection. But that doesn't go for most people. In 99% of cases, including for myself, we go through to the staffer. Typically, we will go through to the staffer who addresses a particular issue that we are interested in addressing. For National Guard issues, you will typically go to the Defense Fellow or Military Issues Fellow. These are often some kind of service member, could be National Guard, could be Army, Navy, Air Force, etc., who are a liaison to the Hill. So they'll already know or be familiar with military issues, and could probably a friendly face, and probably somebody that I've previously interacted with. So you'll want to reach out to that person. If you cannot find a military attaché of some sort, then please reach out to the legislative director on the staff, or anybody related to legislative issues, whether it's legislative fellow, assistant, liaison, something like that. And once you've got through to them, just address them in a very professional manner, saying, "Hello, my name is so-and-so. I'm with this part of the National Guard." Basically saying, "I am one of your constituents, and I would like to speak with you and the representative on issues that affect me, or people, or the representative's constituents in the state." Because at the end of the day, this legislator is trying to get votes for election seasons, and wants to hear from their constituents, and therefore wants to hear from you. So you got to think about it. Why does the legislator why does his or her staff want to hear from you? And so as a constituent, that is your main selling point. Ideally, you would have your specific issue in mind, never more than 3 issues at most, I would say. Ideally, 1 issue in particular, and then a couple ancillary issues. But you don't want to overwhelm the staffer or the representative. You want to make sure that the issues that you're dealing with stick in their mind. So ideally, you'll address that issue in the email very briefly, and attach a white paper, in short, a brief outlining the issue and the solution, and you attach that to the email. You can find those white papers for specific issues on our website. While these representatives are, represent the people, they are supposed to be our servants. When we're addressing staffers and so on, we need to understand that these people are extremely busy and have a ton of voices shouting at them every day. We want to make their lives as easy as possible, and therefore make us a pleasure to deal with. And the easier we can make their day, the easier that they can make ours in the grand scheme of things.
Nick, I think you hit on a good point there. It's incredibly important to be well prepared for the meeting, and it starts with that email. That first contact, when you can show that you are an educated constituent and not just another voice in the crowd, really helps you stand apart. And you've got to be on your game from that point forward, because as soon as you reach out, you become that contact for that MLA, for the staffer. I've got staffers that I still reach out to regardless of whichever representative they may be attached to nowadays, that they know that when I'm reaching out to them, I'm bringing them a pertinent topic, and B, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just firing off at the hip. And so it's very important that from that word, from the get-go, that you present a professional and educated standpoint, so that you can help reduce the waste of their time, and not just be another angry constituent beating down the door.
Exactly. Like they'll hear people ranting every day, and we all know how much we'd love to rant if we could, but they get enough of that, honestly, and it's not particularly welcome. It's not how you make friends. The question at the end of the day is, are you there to just vent yourself, or are you there to make things happen? Yeah. And, we'd like to think that we're there to make things happen for the Guard. Yep. And,
that this meeting is all about developing relationships, and it's about saying, hey, you have a good contact and the Enlisted Association for whatever needs may arise.
Exactly. Yeah, and that means that, they don't just listen to us when we come to them, but that means that when they have an issue, whether it's related to the Guard or anything related to the military or veterans, they will reach out to you and say, hey, you're a pleasure to deal with, you're knowledgeable, you're professional. What are your thoughts on this issue? Would you support it? Or how would you fix it? And that really gets our foot in the door with barely even trying, and that's makes everyone's work so much easier.
Makes our states and the legislative workshop more of a force multiplier.
Exactly.
For us here in the area.
Absolutely. And another point I hadn't quite mentioned was committees. So if you're not familiar with how Congress works, a lot of members will be on various committees that discuss various pieces of legislation before they're voted on by the whole House or the whole Senate and so on. So when you are researching your representatives, check out which committees they're on. And specifically, there are a few committees that we deal with in particular. So there are the House and Senate Armed Services Committees. These ones deal primarily with military-related issues. These ones are the main ones that we deal with. They are also responsible for the NDAA, which, is the big military legislative package where a lot of things hopefully get resolved. And then you also have the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees. There's also the House and Senate Appropriations Committees, and a number of other ones, the Judiciary Committees and so on. It's very important for you to know which committees they're on and therefore what kind of say they'll have. So if your representative is not on any of these committees, it's still good to talk to them and address them, but know that the amount of leverage they have might not be as great as if they are sitting on the House Armed Services Committee, for instance. If they are the chair or co-chair, depending if it's minority or majority, of one of these committees, that means they have a big say. And this person if they are aware of the issue already, they probably have a position. So definitely check on so if your issue already has a bill, check if it's already introduced to that committee and the status of the vote on that committee. It might be currently in a subcommittee of the larger committee, waiting on a vote. So if you can find out what your representative's position on that bill is, any hangups they might have, and see if they can push it through to a vote. Also, caucuses. There are House and Senate National Guard caucuses. Please check if your member is on those as well, or what other caucuses they might be on.
Yeah, and sometimes when you reach out to we talked about being a voice in the crowd. Sometimes when you really aren't getting quite the feedback, or you're not making a connection with the military staff or the chief of staff with the office that you need to, and you're not getting that meeting scheduled, this is a good time to reach out to your military liaison at Joint Force Headquarters as well. You should, as a state association, have a positive relationship with your Joint Force Headquarters, and I think that's a great avenue to start with, not only to try and see if they know somebody or if they've got a relationship with your contact that you need to get the meeting scheduled, but also to let them know, hey, I'm going up there. And that, is there anything you want me to be talking about specifically, or is there anything you want me to stay away from? I think it's important for our association to have that partnership with National Guard leadership at the state and national level, because we have to have a united voice. And so we don't need to be, they have their own advocation efforts as the National Guard members, but we as an association and our members, when we're going to the Hill, we need to be cognizant and aware of what our leadership is saying and what they've already been advocating for, so that we can have that strong voice. And meeting with your MLA or your LL at the state level is a great way to develop that relationship. Just have a check-in and say, hey, I'm having trouble reaching out to this office. Can you help me set up a meeting, or do you have a different contact that I could talk to? Because the normal avenues aren't necessarily working. And oftentimes having that contact and having that warm handoff can lend a lot of credibility to you when you're walking in with an established relationship. It does mean you have to be very careful, because at that point you are, your credibility is built off of the credibility of the state at that point, and you have to be aware of that. And so that just goes into that maintaining positive relationships, being well prepared, and working that network and taking care of that network best you can.
I want to double tap that unity of voice point that you made there, Gene. It's really important that we speak with one voice on particular issues, or on the issues that come up through the resolutions process. Because if we're just a cacophony of voices shouting various things, it just gets everything gets drowned out. But the Enlisted Association, ultimately represents close to 500,000 men and women in uniform, and if it's 500,000 voices booming one thing at a legislator, it sticks in their head. Right. They remember it, and they know the Guard needs this. They say, and that means they can go to the media, their constituents, to other people on the Hill and say, hey, I've spoken with the Guard, not just a Guard member or me who represents the Guard, and so on. They can confidently say, I hear from the Guard, and this is what they want. This is what they need.
So this is what the Enlisted Association's Legislative Workshop is all about. It's about educating our members. It's about and bringing people to DC to sit with your legislators. We will provide you the white papers. We're going to provide you more training and education. We're going to provide you that professional development that a lot of our enlisted leaders and officers are looking for us as enlisted to receive. And so you're going to get that in March when you come up here to DC. But all we need you to do is take the time to make sure you get those appointments, get on the books, get on the schedule, so that you make the most of this. I've been up here. I've been to about every legislative workshop since 2018, and the most impactful ones are when we come up here with a plan. We come up here as a team, as a state, and we're very well prepared to go in. That means having your papers ready, means coming in dressed right? Like have your suit ready, have your business attire. It means doing the research on these topics and connecting with your leadership to let them know that you're coming up here and doing this. Being prepared will take you a lot further than just showing up. I say about any professional military education, and I'll say about any EANGUS opportunity, you and we will get what we put into this event. And so the more that our members come to DC prepared and ready to meet with the legislators, the more we're able to feed them and get them and beef up their ability to make us an effective association and getting our resolutions turned into bills, into law, to actually create a difference for the Guardsmen across the country. All right, this message is directed to our senior enlisted leaders across the 54. I'm challenging you to give us one or two of your best and your brightest, the Legislative Workshop, March 23rd, 24th, so that we can take them and teach them about the legislative process and all of the initiatives that we are fighting for on their behalf within the Enlisted Association. I have found that this is one of the greatest professional development opportunities that I've been able to attend in my almost 20 years in the Air National Guard, and it's something that I have yet to hear a negative comment about for all of our members that have attended. So please bring us your members and send them to the Legislative Workshop in DC, March 23rd and 24th.
I hope you found this series of videos useful. We really look forward to seeing you in March. Remember, reach out to your reps. Use the information that we provided to reach out and set those meetings. don't worry if you don't feel fully prepared. That is what the workshop is about. We'll go over these issues and make sure you are well prepared, and you have your 30-second elevator pitch and so on, and how to get the most out of these meetings. But really, just make sure you have that meeting set up, and we look forward to seeing you in March.
If you like this video, let us know, like, subscribe, and let us know what else you want to see from us here moving forward. We're looking forward to doing more of these, and we want to use this channel as a means to stay in touch with our membership.